Alright, arriving on Kalebo 3, our brave heroes have one more planet to explore in the Gadgetron HQ instead of before actually assaulting again the Deplanetizer, because yes, after this part we're going to finish the game by going back to the Deplanetizer again, because we're following the structure of the movie. There is no climax on Velding being sieged or Chairman Drake having to be fought on his mech there.
This was just a stupid idea in both the game and the movie. Like, okay, I get that you want to change some things up, but making it so that Veldin was no longer the target, which really motivated Ratchet and
Yeah,
Clank
that
into
was the
action
entire
by the
point
end.
of the climax. Ratchet had already seen a bit the error of his ways when everything in Quark he had, well, I guess the combat equivalent of a post-nut clarity, kinda, sorta, and understood, that he overstepped his welcome. Also, he has a shipinator time. Um, but afterward, when Veldin was sieged, he understood that the entire message of the movie was that war can arrive even at the steps of your door, so you should be acting preemptively. And by the end of the game, he was fully understanding that. Hence why at the start of 2 he was more, on board and jovial with Clank and everything. But in here,
And it
no, we cannot allow Ratchet to have that many stakes. Otherwise, he wouldn't actually lose his super happy-go-lucky personality. Because that's how optimistic heroes are supposed to be, am I right?
I've made it no secret that I definitely prefer Ratchet in the original game. In fact, I honestly think he worked out in the original game. But for the sake of argument, let's say you don't care for him in the original game. Here's the thing, though. Whether you like or hate Ratchet in the original game, there's one thing you can't deny. This new version of Ratchet just lacks personality altogether. Like, now, him being more happy go lucky or more positive or whatnot is not inherently a bad thing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the idea was, hey, he's the last of his kind, let's full on make him like Superman. Difference. Superman is still a multi-layered character, despite what some hack writers would try and tell you and make you think he's some
Yeah,
generic good guy.
but I thought Superman doesn't have a personality if he's not being angry.
Quiet Frank Miller, but well, okay. To be fair, Frank Miller of a certain day and age, because apparently Frank Miller is nowadays kind of retracting a lot of what he
I
said.
don't know.
Probably from never, but
The stuff that he wrote for Superman Year One is still bizarre and nonsensical to me. But again,
oh
not the
yeah,
topic. Oh, no.
oh, it's definitely weird. But my point is like this: it's
Oh,
like, you know,
God.
okay, why didn't they make a death animation where he smacks? But I digress. Back to
Ratchet, I said
Ratchet.
use your Omni Wrench, not use your Omni Wrench and fall into the wall.
Ratchet in the 2016 project is literally just whatever the story needs him to be. Oh, suddenly he's a bit of a criminal like the original, just to make it tough for him to get into the Galactic Rangers? Okay, but he's still a plucky, upgoing guy who really doesn't seem like a criminal. I mean, we don't even get, like, flashbacks to show that, oh, he was a bit of a
I mean,
troublemaker, but
like I
wants to
said,
shape
I
up
I
for
mean,
think.
something.
people can be happy-go-lucky and criminals.
Okay, no, there's also the implication, I guess, that he doesn't think the stuff that he did were big deals. And there's the whole moment, like I said, where he tricks Clank into making him believe he's part of a Galactic Ranger, but these things go nowhere. Like,
Yeah, this is my point. The plot is just whatever it needs him to be, because there's never any reflection on when he actually does do something wrong, essentially. Because no, he goes back to being, oh, the golden hearted hero. And like, oh, we can't have him confront Quark because he's just too down in the dumps in betrayal. Again, ignoring the fact that if anyone idolized Quark in the original, that was more so Clank, and that was Clank's flaw of being kind of a naive know-it-all. Like, he thought he knew it all, but in reality, he was just a bright-eyed kid who was literally just born a few days ago, essentially, whereas Ratchet was the more street-smart, cynical guy, essentially. But in the 2016 project, oh no, he's happy-go-lucky. Oh, and I will say this.
Oh, by the
I
way,
can
the
make.
Gadgetron receptionist that in the original gave you the map, the sold you the Map-O-Matic, nowhere to be found here. I guess they did not have the time to create
Right.
a new model because, you know, we're close to the end of the game, so the Russian factory start to show to be more present. So just match
Yeah.
the glass and everything. Go on.
Yeah, no, like, one minute Ratchet's like this, then Ratchet's like that, and okay, I can maybe believe that the whole oh, Ratchet quits for a bit may have been even in the original TJ Fixman script, because for as much as I do like TJ Fixman, he really, and I do mean really, seems to love the whole routine of Ratchet and Clank seem like they're quitting and retiring essentially until they're forced back into action and whatnot. Now, granted, maybe
so
his,
it's like James Bond half the time.
Kinda.
now
Also,
granted,
why the sheep
maybe
look
the
so
way
ugly?
was the idea that these were other employees turned to
Possible.
sheep by
It was a
Nefarious or something.
possible. Something like that was going on also in the original version of the game, when Gadgetron was experimenting with their stuff.
Yeah, no, like my big frustration is just Ratchet doesn't feel like he has a character, or rather a consistent character. Oh yeah, overall he's more generic and upbeat, but it really feels like one minute he's borderline a criminal, the next he's the greatest hero gosh darn whatsoever, and maybe they were going for about where he's looking for some redemption, but I'm sorry, they did not emphasize a need for him to feel redemptive. It's like you said earlier, he feels like a mishmash of Luke Skywalker and Jim Hawkins from Treasure Planet, essentially. The problem was we don't see enough content of his character to really get an idea that, oh, he was a troubled kid who's trying to become better. Like, no, as far as we know, he just wants to be a hero, which makes the fact that he lets Quark for the first part just get away with it nonsensical. And I get that the game tries to give it a sense of, oh, no, you see, it wasn't just that he was jettisoned off. No, this time he just left, which at first I didn't get why they made that change, but now I'm guessing for the game's sake, that's maybe to show just how truly in despair Ratchet is, that he didn't even have to be flushed out, he just left, but I'm sorry. All the same, though, the Ratchet from, like, earlier in the movie does not feel like the Ratchet that would do that. And I know some could say maybe he's had character development. No. Like, if you've seen our movie commentary and watched the movie with us, no. There was nothing that really changed Ratchet's outlook before he found out that Quark was a bad guy, essentially.
This is supposed to be
heck?
the fusion grenade test. Why are all the dummies using the flamethrower weapon instead?
Oh dear, did somebody mess up the effects shot
No,
here?
they literally have only one model for the test dummy, even though the original did have test dummies with different weapons equipped to reflect the different test chamber. What the fuck happened?
What? As I say, what went on during the development?
Again,
I think it's like
10
Tio
months,
said, we're closer
10
to
months.
the end, so
Gotta
yeah, it's
be
like the
to
closer to
Russia.
the end. Yeah, the closer to the end we get, the more the rush nature reveals itself, essentially.
But no, again, the story really screams, again, just for the movie, because the game is basically following it and doing its best to try to insert a small element of fanfiction in order to course correct a bit here and there, but there's only so much you can do. But at least for the movie, it really is the epitome of the statement, what are you even trying to say?
I know, right?
Because, like,
again,
do you want
at
to
first,
tell an epic space opera similar to the original? Then why so defend? Do you want to sell a product for the children? Then why, is there still at least a trace of the original crass humor? Do you want to create a middle ground? Because I'm sorry, this is not working.
I do wonder, now that you mention that, if this is a classic case of they tried to please everyone and thus please no one.
The closest I can think of, it really is just some executive, possibly not at Sony, maybe at Universal, because remember, while not directly, the movie was still connected to Universal via Comcast in some capacity. Someone asked for consultants, and they were like, here's what the kids like these days, put those things in the movie, and prioritize these. And that's
I
what they
wonder.
basically stuck to as kind of a Bible, because, it's still too early, but otherwise, if this movie had released, like, say, 2 years ago, I mean, kind of like the Mario movie, I would have genuinely potentially considered that Gen AI was partially used in creation of the basic script.
It really does feel like that in some cases. And you know what? Now that you mention it, I wonder if maybe they changed the stakes on Veldon because they didn't want to frighten kids. Like, that has sadly been a thing I've seen lately with movies, most notably with Wish, where they literally changed the scene because a kid was crying. Yes, Disney, the same company that traumatized an entire generation of kids into ruining the upholstery of a theater when they wet their pants up on the Snow White scene, suddenly changed the scene because it made a kid cry. Like, okay, here's the problem. Like, it's like we said, changing it so that Veldon is not the final stake is like changing the original Crash Bandicoot plot, simple as it is, from Tana being kidnapped and Crash needing to rescue his girlfriend to, I don't know, Crash's tax accountant being kidnapped. Like, sure,
I mean,
it might be funny,
could
but
have,
you don't feel the stakes nearly as much.
I could have, lived if it was Coco instead, Sure, not as direct as, say, love interest, but arguably, still direct connection and better foreshadowing, because, again, it took until, Crash 4 to supposedly give Tona personality, but it's a kind of worse for another day. But,
Well, you get my point, though. It's like, imagine if they changed it from somebody Crash cared about to, I don't know, just this random dude who Crash, I guess, decides he wants to be a hero to save that guy. And mind you, yes, I know, Crash Bandicoot is incredibly bare bones as a plot, but at the very least, in its simplicity, you automatically get it. Loved one in danger. Go save him. Boom.
it was literally the old textbooks of, save the princess from either an evil wizard or a dragon. In the case of Crash, just evil scientist instead.
Well, two things I want to mention actually. One, could you imagine if the game incorporated those dropped Looney Tunes-esque cutscenes?
Okay, that would have been cool.
I mean, I don't like the songs that much, but
I mean, I adore the song and how cheesy and honest it is about how they just want your money, but hey, we're actually going to at least try to earn it.
Okay, I don't know what you're actually talking about.
Oh, okay, basically, believe it or not, originally the Crash Bandicoot game was supposed to come with these Looney Tune-esque cutscenes, essentially. There are some that have surfaced online, essentially, one of which is an opening one, which basically has a
is that
song
the one
sung
that
by
Pedicles
Jim Cummings,
mistook
of
for
course.
the pilot of a TV series?
Might be. Let me.
yeah, I don't think
see
I don't think
if
it was
I
that
can get you that.
Skylanders thing you was
No,
talking about.
no. It was something else.
This is one of those weird release things here in the UK where it came out in the PAL region April 20th, 2016, and yet us in the UK had to wait 2 extra days for it because
Was it another case of them trying to placate backlash or something by delaying a
2
release?
days, Joe.
for 2 days.
What are you going to try to placate? Like, the closest I can say would be, oh, maybe something else was coming out and they thought just a few days was enough for, trying to avoid competition.
Unless someone in the UK really hated the number 20, I don't know.
Also,
How specific?
in regards to the plot of the movie, and to an extent also for this game, how ironic that, the plot of a movie that supposedly has a strong anti-capitalism, message has to bend its will to actually, sell more tickets to the cinemas, and it did not even work.
That's why I don't really take much stock whenever any piece of media has a anti-whatever message, because a lot of the time it comes from something that it's against.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be fair. There are a lot of cases. I would argue there are plenty of cases where the message can be genuine and does work. The thing is, first off, a movie has to know where it's coming from in that regard. Now, to be fair, something like an anti-racist message film one could argue those are easy because the message is quite clear and simple. However, again, there are movies that I would say pull it off well while feeling genuine. Now, mind you, in anti-capitalist film, that is admittedly going to be tough. On the one hand, you can say a lot with that. On the other hand, yes, it will sometimes have people raising an eyebrow when they consider what you maybe had to do to get that film off the ground and whatnot, essentially. So, I do feel like sometimes that's a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't, essentially.
It's kind of like if you try
Now,
to make
mind
a
you-
statement about, the producers at Hollywood, and one of the people that found your project is Harvey Weinstein.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Any-
that's the thing. Though. Remember that?
Hollywood
Yeah, that
Burn, Hollywood Burn,
Hollywood
yes,
Burn movie.
that's what I was referencing.
He played a
with,
fucking detective in that movie.
Okay, I have
no,
not seen that one, actually.
You're not missing much.
Prepare to play with adorable bunny rabbits.
I think one of the biggest examples is, well, okay, to be fair, it was corrupt from the get-go, but, something like United Passions, a movie about FIFA which tries to lecture people about how cheating is wrong and evil, despite the fact it's being done by FIFA. Again, I'm part convinced that the people involved were trying to sabotage that movie. In fact, some of the actors even admitted that they intentionally played their FIFA characters kind of evil because it's FIFA. Who the hell are you kidding?
Not to mention still
essentially?
having weird priorities like casting Sam Neill to play a Brazilian person.
Weird, yeah. And as much as I do like that movie, the newer Lorax talking about, saving the trees and whatnot, never mind.
While
how much
having commercials
paper
about
probably
cars,
went into
huh?
do that. Oh, good lord. It's
Anyway,
like, I like that.
We
Hello.
finally managed to clear the testing room, so we're about to meet the CEO of Gadgetron.
I don't believe it! Ratchet and Clank here at Gadgetron!
That's the name of the game.
I'm the CEO of this fine company.
Huge fan of your weapons, Mr. Loomis. Listen, Clank and I are on a mission to save the galaxy, and we need one of your Hologuises.
I'm afraid we're out of that product. Those darn
Yeah, especially in the case of
Blargs
Ratchet,
stockpiles.
the animation doesn't really match James Arnold Taylor's
No.
energy.
The voice direction certainly is there, but they did not put animation in the character movement where it should be.
It's so awkward when he just stands still like he's in an idle pose.
They're
or
trying to
something.
do this back and forth a la Mass Effect, and it's not working. I'm sorry. Before starting the overboard race, we just need to drain the whole thing, which is the last thing you need to do to the idle displacer for. Enjoy.
Nice. Anyway, posted the cutscene story to you, but yeah, that's
that's
what
what it was.
Crash was supposed to have. Was that the thing you were thinking of with Cat Icarus?
Yeah, he did make a video, but I guess he was just wrong thinking about that he was a failed, unused pilot for a cartoon that never got made.
This means we will be moving forward with our competition.
Alright, now it's time to another hoverboard race, and I like this circuit less than the first one, to be honest. Again, thankfully only the Bronze Cup is mandatory because you need it for the Hologuise. The others just give you more Holo cards, thankfully.
I do find it funny in the context of this version of the story that Ratchet and Clank deadass take time out of their schedule to do a race. Like, I get it, it's technically for the job, but I don't know, don't you find it just a little silly? Oh yeah, the world and galaxy are at all-time peril, but we can totally
That's only
indulge
because
this
the
guy
one
enough to do a race.
Hologuise left is the one that is the prize of the Bronze Cup.
Now, this is surfboard racing.
Thank you,
And
Ratchet.
again, this feels like something that, I'd be more okay with in the original plot, because the original plot, while it could get serious, was overall more satirical. This plot, though, takes itself a lot more seriously because it's lacking a lot of the satire that the original had, so
The plot of the
It
original
kinda
game
feels
was
weird
also a
that,
bit
oh,
more
now we
chillax,
want to-
technically. By the time you reach this game, yes, the Blargs had
Yeah.
stepped their game, but each planet was still having, everyone for themselves, a kind of... What the fuck? Everyone for
Really, game?
themselves,
You wa-
for kind of clause. So, I get the idea that, despite the Blargian threat, you would still have time for this kind of shit.
I'm guessing somebody didn't game test that part if, the literal ramp can, well, ramp you up above what's supposed
I
to be
used
the
a ramp
secret
as a ramp, but it
passageway.
did not work. Tails, you betrayed me. How could you?
What happens if you don't go through those yellow hoops?
That's the basic to unlock the shortcut to Dweebs, basically.
Did that grass electrocute you?
That was not grass.
Don't you see, Chover? Everyone knows grass is a electrical hazard.
Well, I mean, if you're in an electronic jungle environment, I guess you can argue that, the grass is made of electrical wires, but who cares, we won.
And Ratchet gets a concussion from all those things falling on his head.
The
Hold
balls.
on, this new dialogue.
Here's your Hologuise. Do me a favor. When you use it, post your thoughts on the social medias. The kids love their social medias. Hashtag.
Oh,
I can just
God, I
feel
can just
the
feel
voice.
the hello, fellow kids, how do you do?
I can feel the
How do you
voice
do,
actor
fellow kids?
physically cringing as he has to say the line.
Lars, come in.
And that's the thing,
I mean-
the movie had a good hashtag joke with Quark. What happened?
Okay, I don't know if that joke is supposed to be taking the piss out of people who go on social media, or if that's supposed to be making fun of the old people who don't get it, but either way, it's not funny.
The second joke, because the holocard description says that when the Lumos basically does what his board of executive tells, will sell more of the products.
Okay, then. Either way, though, here's part of the problem. We're in a technological future, so given that, technology is already boosted ahead, shouldn't this guy, get social media if they're in such a futuristic setting?
I don't know what to tell you. Is that also because the original game this started obviously when the internet was still a very secluded type of space where only a selected number of people were basically roaming around and communities were still very small. So the idea of updating the formula to reflect that, I don't mind it in principle, but man, 9 times out of 10 the jokes do scream like, old people who don't understand what kids these days like.
All right, Rangers. I think I have a plan for how to take down the Deplanetizer once and for all. By energizing the Hologuise Ratchet and Clank acquired from Gadgetron, they'll actually be able to become Captain Quark for a short
That
period of time.
sheen.
While in disguise, they should be able
Jesus.
to get past the Deplanetizer's primary shields.
Greetings, citizen. I'm just here to use your weight room.
You're clear, Captain.
From there,
It's an old code,
they'll
sir,
need
That
to
was
but it
use
checks
easy.
the
out.
Deplanetizer's star cracker room. The Deplanetizer uses a gravity stabilizer to position itself over its target. By extracting the stabilizer, the Deplanetizer will drift off from its target and become vulnerable to our attack. Once Ratchet
Oh, and by the
Clank get
way,
word, we'll
it's only
activate
a
new
small
map
blink
boosters,
in
flip
this
the
detail,
Deplanetizer,
but
and
both
save
in the movie and
galaxy.
this, you wanna know what's the final planet that the Deplanetizer is orbiting? Umbris, the place where Quark's training ground used to be in the original. Not sure why
We
specifically
better go back and take
there.
a closer look here.
Like I've said, the biggest problem is this project can't seem to decide when it wants to party like it's 2016 or like it's 2002, essentially. Like, with the mannerisms of 2002, but suddenly trying to update it to 2016 and whatnot.
Anyway, the end is near, so tune in for the next part for the epic conclusion, citation needed, of the story. See you for that.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Excelsior.